Hello everyone, it's Vivi and welcome back. Before we dive into the meat of the question, let's understand what's at play here. During Sony PlayStation's showcase, which happened on September 9th, not only did Insomniac Games surprise us with Marvel's Wolverine, but another Marvel project as well, the likes of the anticipated sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man. So straight to the point, what do we know about Marvel's Wolverine and Spider-Man 2? Let's start with Spider-Man 2. Let's get the obvious thing out of the way. The reveal trailer showed 2023 for Spidey 2. According to Ryan Schneider, the head of franchise strategy and studio relations at IG, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is coming exclusively to the PlayStation 5. The thing about exclusivity, you might have guessed it before, you know, with the tagline during the reveal. Perhaps some weren't too sure or still asked the question about cross-gen, seeing as how, of course, the first game along with Miles Morales are both available on the PlayStation 5. So yup, it's exclusive to the PlayStation 5, folks. As for the game's story premise, what we know right now, well, the story will focus on the human side of our heroes. In other words, the story will revolve around both Miles and Peter. As Schneider stated, deliver a compelling human story, one full of heart and humor that dives deep into the people behind the mask. What we saw in this reveal is just a glimpse of what's to come. As for what's actually coming, both voice actors for Miles and Peter will be reprising their roles, as well as game director and creative director of the first game. As for our good old Venom, cherry on top of the reveal, I have to say, we got Tony Todd portraying the character. As for Marvel's Wolverine, Schneider explained that during the production of Marvel's Spidey, the team, along with Sony and Marvel, they'd all discuss projects beyond Spider-Man. During early discussions, he explained that Wolverine was a constant candidate. Couple years later, IG steps in front of Sony and pitched Marvel's Wolverine for the PlayStation 5. So right there, Wolverine is planned to also be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. The trailer we got, it's a very simple tease. Claws coming out, a scene in a bar and all, and cute title. Heck, for the PlayStation 5, it says it right there. Now what compelled the team to go for Wolverine? Well, they simply find the aspect of this character intriguing, just like Spider-Man. Both characters feel deeply compelled to defend people who are less able to do so. Wolverine is a standalone title with creative director Brian Horton and game director Cameron Christian, known for being involved with the development of Miles Morales. The game is very early in development, therefore, we do not have any information on its release year. Brian Horton responded on Twitter, stating that Wolverine will be mature-toned and a full-size game. With both titles in development, this implies we got two teams working on two projects. Perhaps there's another one at play here. It's a rumor, just to get that out of the way. For quite some time, fans had set their eyes out on IG's listing for hire. Among this list, which was shared on the 24th of June, we had multiplayer. Special Nick, aka Nick Baker, you're probably aware of this name, maybe. I brought him up in a handful of my videos these past couple of weeks. He heard that a Marvel multiplayer game was in the works. This was stated on his Xbox Era podcast episode 76 at 1 hour and 7 minutes mark of the video. September 25th if we look at the date. Perhaps it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive, he said. He speculated IG being the team behind the project, seeing as how they are known for Marvel nowadays. Fans, too, naturally might lean towards IG working on a multiplayer Marvel game. If this is true about the multiplayer game, then we might be looking at a sum of 3 teams at IG being busy on 3 different projects right now. As for what might sound concrete in terms of number of teams, well, obviously we got Spidey and Wolverine. Insomniac Games, they're really outdoing themselves, and I'm super happy for the team. I love Ratchet Clank, I grew up with it. Seeing IG expand onto other horizons, especially the likes of Marvel, for sure, I'm super happy for the team. Now, as a Ratchet Clank fan, there's a part of me that wonders, just like you, perhaps just a bit. And the question is, well, as the title suggests, What does this mean for Ratchet & Clank? To word it differently, where does Ratchet & Clank stand with Marvel's Wolverine and Spider-Man 2 in the picture? Some perhaps tend to worry a bit when it comes to a developer focusing on other games, especially more than one game at a time. Some might worry as in, will they push back Ratchet & Clank? Does this mean we won't have another Ratchet & Clank game anymore? As much as Marvel stands out from the crowd, I mean, we are dealing with Spidey and Wolverine, I get that. But it shouldn't undermine the love the studio has for Ratchet & Clank. IG still loves Ratchet & Clank. They constantly acknowledge Ratchet & Clank among other projects they've produced over the years. From photo mode and Rift Apart, to referencing past games, to sharing fan art. They love their Lombax and Robot best friend. IG focusing on other games at the moment, it just means Ratchet & Clank might be on a break. But it doesn't mean that we won't get another Ratchet & Clank game. Unless we have a team already focused on the next Ratchet & Clank game behind closed doors, a slight delay, to put it nicely, shouldn't come off as surprising just looking at the project slate at Insomniac Games. To add on to this, lead writer of Rift Apart Lauren Mee is working on Marvel's Spider-Man 2 as mission director. This could be an example of how workers are shifting from one project to another. As for what this next game could be about looking at Ratchet & Clank, I'll leave that topic for a future video. But here's a quick thought. IG now has assets for the next Ratchet & Clank game, which I assume will also be on the PlayStation 5 at this point. Rift Apart had what? 3.5 years of development? How do we know this? Well, I recall making a breakdown from the tweets of, ex-senior writer and all. Looking at the video, okay, 3 years, about 3 years for Rift Apart. So with assets already present for the PlayStation 5, I mean, I don't want to say it's going to take less time to produce the next Ratchet & Clank game, but assets for IG is already major groundwork for the team. I made a video in the past going over how Rift Apart kept topping the UK sales charts. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, in summary, guys, it's a success. If we look at it in a more technical perspective, aka sales-wise, back on July 29th, we got official sales figure from Sony. During that time, Rift Apart had sold over 1.1 million copies. That was what, a month and a half post-launch? For Ratchet & Clank standards, that's fantastic. Even for Sony to realize, yup, people love this iconic duo. Heck, this number is likely to increase as more people get their hands on a PlayStation 5. So what it all comes down to, it's not a question of if we're getting a game, it's a question of when. When can we expect the next Ratchet & Clank game? I don't have an answer for that. You thought IG is simply acknowledging Ratchet & Clank on their Twitter? Nah. Sony and the team have gone to greater lengths, actually. Once we had a Kit Kat commercial back in early August, Ratchet, Clank, and Nefarious just chillin' in Megalopolis when the player ain't looking, that is. Once the player sits down, our characters realize, well, become self-aware, and they get back in action, which is actually funny. Just looking at these facial animations, like, it's awesome. There's something very heartwarming seeing these guys just hanging out, being casual, like they're part of a space opera. Actors, in other words. A more recent one when it comes to ads, we got a PlayStation-sponsored ad within this year's UEFA Champions League. We got Ratchet & Clank jumping out of a rift. Well, technically, Phantom dashing out of a rift, hover boots included. Our duo acts as paramedic. Now we also had Kratos and Atreus, and Aloy as well, for this PlayStation-sponsored ad. Having Ratchet & Clank among all these IPs just goes to show how Sony vitalizes Ratchet & Clank. Sean Layden, ex-president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, did once say that Ratchet & Clank is a vital IP, and still looks to be. Ratchet & Clank are still going strong, so a new game is only a matter of time. Another cool fact, for the 39th Golden Joystick Awards, presented by Games Radar, Rift Apart got nominated within 4 categories. Best Visual Design, Best Voice Performance, Jennifer Hale as Rivet, PlayStation Game of the Year, and Ultimate Game of the Year. You can vote until November 5th if you're ever curious. Winners will be revealed in a digital live broadcast on November 23rd. Rift Apart is also 2021's best game, according to Trusted Reviews Awards. Now, will Rift Apart be nominated for the Game Awards this year? That's something we'll have to wait and see. With all the positive reception surrounding Rift Apart, I'd be surprised if Rift Apart doesn't get nominated. So with that being said, folks, this is it for the video. Like I said, another Ratchet Clank game, it's only a matter of time. So yeah, as usual, if you have your own thoughts or questions or anything of such sort, leave it all in the comment section below. And as always, I've been Vivi, and thank you for sticking around. Until next time.